Hello? Hello? Anybody home?
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole.
I am McLovin.
This is 3 is Company.
We're going streaking! Yes!
Welcome into 3 is Company. I am Q-Tip. Of course, we have Preston Poole and Kylie Osborne alongside with me. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Q-Tip47, at Preston Poole 405, and at Kylie Osborne. If you're watching us on YouTube, our Twitter handles are right there. If you're not watching us on YouTube, go ahead. Turn on YouTube. I got a haircut. Got a fresh cut for tonight. So, you can see the tip a little tamed. Make sure and go watch us on YouTube. Go watch us on X or Twitter, however you want to call it. It's fine by me. If you Google qtipx.com, I don't know what's going to happen.
Probably a subscription based website, I would assume.
I have 0 subscriptions, sadly. That's why I'm still doing this. But all right, there was 2 of us that were from this podcast that were in Texas watching a bowl game. So I was Texas, guys.
8 hours I was there. Yeah, it was fine, I guess.
You just went down.
Did you go there and come back in the same day?
No, well, I went down the day of the game and I came back the next day. So we got down there. We got down there at like 4 p.m. though. So I mean, we went straight down to the Riverwalk area, ate some dinner, and then went straight to the game and back to the hotel. So.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what we did too. But I will say I was sitting next to the absolute most annoying Arizona fans the entire game. It was driving me just absolutely crazy.
Wait, were you on the Arizona side?
We were like kind of like in the area where it kind of split, so it was like kind of half and half, but we were just happened to be directly like behind these just absolutely horrendous Arizona fans. All of them were great except for this one guy, okay? And he had the audacity to say that you hadn't been good since Sam Bradford.
That's what happens when you don't make the bowl games too often as a program.
I was just like, dude, whatever.
Tell him to stick to basketball.
Yeah, I didn't say anything. I was like, just shut up, dude.
Other than that, though, I've not spent much time in San Antonio. Obviously, I was only there for a few hours. The Riverwalk was just completely packed that night, and I'm assuming because of the holidays and, of course, the bowl game. But it was just, I mean, I think we went up to one restaurant because I wanted to get some Mexican food while I'm down there, obviously. And I don't know that the Riverwalk is the place to get the authentic Mexican food, but I think the wait was like an hour to 2 hours. I was like, yeah, not doing that. So thankfully we found a spot down there that was okay, I guess. But other than that, yeah, people were saying the stadium was nice. I'll probably say no on that because I had to walk up 10 flights of stairs to get up to the very top where the poor people sit. So yeah.
Why didn't you? You should have just emailed them and said you're Preston from the Sports Animal and seeing if they can hook you up.
Yeah, I don't have that much pull, so no.
You just lie. You just lie. Yeah. I feel like if you just lied and somebody were to call, like, if they actually did their due diligence and called, surely our boss would have your back. I mean, really.
Well, it was my mother's Christmas present. I took her down there, so that's why.
Okay, fair enough. So you needed yourself and your cameraman, is what you're saying. Camerawoman. Yeah. Got it. Well, that is I was wondering how that was going, and how'd your New Year's go? Did you do anything? I'll be honest, I told myself I had a little party with my coworkers from my other job over at my house so they could see my house and everything, and I was like, all right, it's not going to be that wild. It's not going to be that crazy. I'm only going to drink beers, right? And I kept getting fed Jello shots, and the night quickly slips away whenever you have Jello shots. So it was fun for the parts I remember. But that was my.
Did you make it to midnight?
Yeah. I made it to midnight. I think so. So I learned how to play. Well, I say learned how to play poker. I lost all my chips pretty quickly, and I don't know exactly how to play poker still. But apparently, we were up till like 3 a.m. playing poker. So yeah, we made it well past midnight.
Yeah, I tell you what, I had so much fun working the Thunder game that night. Everyone loves the New Year's Eve game, but as someone that works Thunder games, it's terrible. It sucks. And let me tell you, the youngest team in the NBA, I'm sure they want to be out there on New Year's Eve playing a basketball game until 10 p.m. When they could be doing other activities. But other than that, had a great New Year's. I did. I don't know if it's a new game, but I made a playlist on Spotify where you just play songs and guess the song and artist. And it's a drinking game that way. So that's on Spotify. I can share that for anyone that's interested. That was a crowd pleaser. So it was times.
What about you, Kylie? How was your New Year's?
It was good. I actually had gotten tickets to like this event concert thing. It was supposed to be at the Criterion with two of my like girlfriends. We were gonna go down there, and I guess I missed the email on the way back from San Antonio that it was canceled, and so we get in an Uber and we get there and there's nobody there.
There's like barricades on the doors and she's trying to get in.
And the Uber driver was like, "I don't think you guys can get in there," and I was like, "Yeah, it's not looking like it." So we keep driving down a ways, like just down that street, and we were like, "Okay, this place looks like a bar. Like, just drop us off here, I guess." And he was like, "Are you sure?" And I was just like, "Yeah, it's whatever." And we walked into this random bar that I'd never been to before. And I guess the people who like had reserved a section like in this like bar club, it's like kind of a smaller place, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but didn't show. And so we're like, "Hey, can we go up there?" And the guys were like, "Until these people show up, sure." So that's what we did.
Nice. I was gonna say, if you're downtown, you might as well go to the ballpark and watch the ball rise.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were kind of just in there trying to figure out what to do, and then it ended up just being like, well, we're already here and everything's crowded now.
Well, that's fair. Just don't buy drinks at the ballpark because they try to make up for the off-season downtime with their $20 vodka and Sprites. So
can we all agree that watching the ball drop in person just sucks? I don't know if you guys have, but it's not fun.
I watched the ball rise in person here in Oklahoma City. But
it was in New Orleans for I think it was the last time OU played in the Sugar Bowl, and we were down there, and it was just pouring rain. Jason Derulo was singing through all the rain, and the ball was rising. It was just Bourbon Street was fun, but the whole watching that was not fun.
Being downtown is fun. Being downtown for New Year's Eve and seeing everybody dressed up and having a good time, and that can be a lot of fun. But yeah, the ball rising is very disappointing. But you know what? You got to be somewhere where it's counting down, or you're gonna miss midnight. So
right.
So it's a good spot to go. But all right, let's get in.
Never mind. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just meant the last couple of times that I've been going through New Year's, I just see balloons fall, but never really like the ball rising or whatnot. So,
dude, me and Curtis, whenever I was on the morning show, I don't know how that man's what in his 40s, maybe 50s, and he's arguing with me. He goes, "The ball doesn't rise here in Oklahoma City," and I remember being so sick, and I had the flu, and then I had to run a Thunder game that night. Yeah, I've run that Thunder game before too. And it sucks. So you get home, everybody's already toasted, and then you're like, okay, let me try to catch up. Well, being on having the flu and already drinking, I don't know how much Dayquil during the day, it was pretty easy to catch up to him. But I remember I was like, I have to record the ball rising and show Curtis that I'm right, because he didn't believe me. He's like, the ball doesn't rise here in Oklahoma City.
Very like shaky video. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And you can hear me yelling. I was like, shut up. I'm trying to get the ball right. Yeah.
Happy New Year. Shut up.
Yeah, exactly. But I threw up and went to bed quickly after midnight. That was the one time I didn't stay up way past midnight.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's talk about the Oklahoma Sooners. We talked about them just a second ago, about their bowl game. Not the greatest performance by that team, but we don't have to really talk about that. Let's talk about the things that are changing. So earlier today, Ted Roof gets announced that he is no longer going to be the defensive coordinator for the University of Oklahoma. What has he been there for 2 years now? He came with Brent, and Brent lets him walk out, or kind of kicks him out the door. Because I was listening to Jim and Al, and I don't know, I haven't seen a whole lot that's been reported on the story, but I guess he was trying to be like an analyst, and Brent said, no thanks. And in comes Zach Alley from Jacksonville State, the defensive coordinator.
Well,
from
not officially just yet, but
every sign is pointing towards Zach Alley coming in.
If Woj was tweeting this out on NBA draft night. He would definitely say all signs are pointing to Zach Alley being the defensive coordinator at the University of Oklahoma.
Exactly. So Zach Alley coming to the University of Oklahoma, maybe. I mean, something could change, but all signs are pointing to that. And Zach Alley worked with Brent while he was in Clemson. It's kind of crazy, the fact that I guess I get it because I've seen a lot of things reported that Brent wants to be more of a head coach and not the defensive coordinator. So bring in a guy who has defensive coordinator. But I'll be honest, whenever I first saw the news of Ted Roof being let go, I really thought I always butchers James Solinsky, the offensive analyst. Yeah. I really thought he was going to be promoted. I saw a lot of videos of him during the season. He looked like a young Brent. He was fired up. He looked like he was engaged, knew everything about it. And of course, he knows Brent Venables' defense because he played in it for like 6 years, right? So I was like, that's for sure who they're going to promote within. But no, he brings in Zach Alley, all signs are pointing that Zach Alley is coming in, a proven defensive coordinator for Jacksonville State last year. So I think it's a great hire, especially if Brent is trying to take a step back and be more of a head coach and not defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's 29 years old. Jacksonville State was ranked 33rd nationally last year in scoring defense, and that was his only year at Jacksonville State. So I don't know what they were the year before that, but 33rd for Jacksonville State is pretty decent. And he worked with Venables, so he knows the type of defense that Venables wants to run. So that'll be. I think that was probably integral in hiring this guy. Not that I know anything, but you got to think that a guy that you've already worked with previously, who has done a good job elsewhere, is a good fit for you and your defense that you want to run. And like you said, maybe this is Brent taking a step back and saying, all right, I need to focus a little bit more on the overall of everything. Here's the defense. You know what we want to do. You're pretty good at what we want to do. So let's do this. And maybe it's just Brent growing as a head coach.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense too. I mean, he's a young guy, and you saw those video clips on X, Twitter, whatever, that he thinks of him like a father figure. So they clearly have a lot of trust in each other. I think that it's a good thing that he's pulling him in.
Yeah, it was I definitely thought it was a good hire. I definitely, we'll see. He's got to coach, he's got to get in the program, he's got to do everything. But I could see, I've seen somebody say Brent needs like Nick Saban and Kirby Smart. Now he's trying to do the same thing. And I guess, but Brent has to be more proven, and so does this guy before.
And while we're talking about, Bruce Feldman just basically tweeted out that Oklahoma is expected to hire Alley as their defensive coordinator.
Yep.
So
just
2 minutes ago, and I'm sure all the other Sooner sites had that info first, but that's just the first tweet that popped up. So
yeah, I saw Sooner Scoop report on it. I saw Carrie tweet something else about it. So whenever I saw it come from Carrie, I was like, okay, this is pretty much set in stone. So yeah, Oklahoma, it's gonna be interesting to see how the transfer portal works for them. Who they bring in, here's
the thing, guys, is that they have one of the most experienced defenses in the country coming back with all the guys they're getting back. Stutzman, Bowman, Bowen having a year under his belt. I know he had a shaky bowl game, but his finger was sideways in that game after like a play. So that has to affect a guy somehow having a finger that is pointed the wrong direction. So it's a very important year headed into the SEC. You've got a bunch of guys back on defense. And like you said, you got to get in the portal. You got to get offensive linemen, because the offensive line is, me and Q-Tip basically out there blocking people. So you got to find offensive linemen in the portal, step up that offensive line for a quarterback who threw, 2 quarters in that bowl game was awesome. He had dumb mistakes, but he's a freshman. Those things can be ironed out, as you've heard, the majority of people say already the last week or so. It's just important offseason, and you got to get those guys in, and you got to be ready for the SEC.
They're going to get tested. That's for sure. We're going to get to see it, and it'll be very interesting to see just how they respond, right? It'll be interesting to see. We do a lot of talking, Preston, about how everybody kind of hypes up the SEC whenever it's pretty top heavy, right? It's pretty top heavy. And then whenever those those middle teams that are always, top 12, top 10 in the nation play somebody
Just look
decent.
at Ole Miss and Missouri this year in the portal. I mean, they're cleaning house.
Yeah, that's true. But when those teams like an LSU plays somebody decent, they lose every time they lose. So it'll be interesting to see what Oklahoma can do whenever they get into the SEC. Let's talk about the other Oklahoma team. The other Oklahoma team gets some news. We're going to talk about if it's good news or bad news. Alan Bowman is going to return for a 7th year because I think he got a medical red shirt or
I think he said he wanted to play with his son, so that's why he's returning.
Exactly.
For his
So
7th year.
Alan Bowman's going to come back, be at Oklahoma State again next year. And I went back and looked, by the way, just to put in perspective how long Alan Bowman's been in college. The first ever college game he played in, A.J. Brown was one of the wide receivers on the other side. A.J. Brown, who it will be going into, I think, his will end his 7th pro season when Alan Bowman's finally done playing college football.
Was he the guy after Mahomes?
I'm pretty sure. I was thinking about that, and I started to look it up.
Surely there was like a couple of gap years in between him and Mahomes. I got to think, but I've got some stats here on Bowman last year. This is courtesy of Ian Nickel. He's a UCO guy and did some good work with the Duke's Mayo Bowl a few weeks ago. On social media, but Bowman threw for just over 3,400 yards. That was 3rd most in the Big 12. Had 15 touchdowns. That was tied for 9th most in the Big 12. 14 interceptions was the most in the Big 12 and tied for 4th most, in all of college football. It was sacked only 7 times, which is great by that offensive line there at OSU in 500 pass attempts. So look, not a guy that's going to light the world up, as we know, but he's what they need, especially having Ollie Gordon back next year and all the people they return on their 2 deep, which is just insane.
But let me ask you this, okay? You say they're exactly the guy that they need. He's not a guy that's going to win you a football game. That's the issue, right? I mean, we saw it whenever he can't go toe to toe with a powerhouse offense. He can't. I mean, that's what I hate about him coming back is because while Zane Flores, the young freshman quarterback who I believe was a 4-star coming out, he was pretty up there, right? And while he might not be great, right? We still got to see it. At least he gives you something that Alan Bowman doesn't, and that is somebody that could potentially score 42 points with UCF, right? I mean, whenever the going gets tough, Alan Bowman kind of folds. He played the thing is, I think Alan Bowman coming back is the worst thing Alan Bowman could do for himself, right? Because if Alan Bowman leaves
why? He's not going to the NFL to be an NFL guy.
If he leaves right now, you know what he's going to be remembered as? The guy who beat Oklahoma the last time Bedlam played. He's going to be remembered as the guy that rallied this team, that came in after the 3 quarterback mishap and rallied this team, got him to the Big 12 championship game, won the last Bedlam, and then won a bowl game, right? He comes back and he loses 5 games. People are going to hate Alan Bowman. They're just going to
hate anyone, no matter what. If you lose 5 games in this state, no matter what school it is, but they've got the best running back in the country, so they don't need him to use his feet, like a Flores would probably be able to do. All they need him to do is just sit there and complete the passes that he needs to, and he's done that for the majority.
Yeah, and I don't think he's too worried about what he's being remembered as. I think he's just trying to get in one more year of this NIL deal stuff. So.
And college, right? The guy just must love college.
Yeah, probably on his 18th degree or something.
Yeah, it's just
they better be calling him doctor by the end of the year.
For real.
I just don't understand.
And I get what you're saying, because I don't know if he's necessarily the best guy to go out there and win football games like you're saying, but he did win a bunch of games for him last year.
He didn't win any football games for him. Ollie Gordon won a lot of football games for him. Whenever we hadn't picked Ollie Gordon, he didn't win that He didn't win that South Alabama game. He didn't win the Iowa State game. He didn't win the UCF game. I mean,
agreed. But when he became the starter and they weren't jumbling all the guys in there at quarterback, they won a lot of football games, did they not?
We'll see. Are they going to do it again? I mean, hell, the guy obviously doesn't know how to play spring ball.
I mean, I don't know.
This
I
time,
just
this
know that
time.
they made it to the Big 12 championship with the guys. So you can't be the worst quarterback on the roster.
They made it to the Big 12 championship because of a mid-season rule change. Yeah. No, I just
They were still there and Oklahoma was at home. So
I mean, look, I want to see Zane Flores play. Okay, if I wanted to see an old man play quarterback, I'd go watch the Cleveland Browns. All right,
yeah.
I can watch Joe Flacco on Sundays. All right, I don't need to see him in Stillwater. And what if Zane Flores leaves? What is Mike Gundy gonna do? He's just gonna have no quarterback. He's gonna have Garrett Rangel.
Yeah, because his son's leaving.
Yeah, exactly. He's not gonna have any quarterbacks.
Here's the thing: I think we're all pretty naive if we think Mike Gundy gives a damn, right? He does not care about recruiting, so that does not matter.
That's the issue. What is he gonna? He gets a 4-star quarterback finally, and this guy won't leave the damn town. Go away, right? Go back to Lubbock.
He's not as ruthless as Venables is, I guess, kicking Dylan Gabriel to the curb. So
yeah, that's what he needs to do. He needs to say, "You need to retire. All right, go get yourself a job. All right, do something. You're just not going to start for me next year." I don't know. I think it's stupid. If I was Mike, I would at least throw Zane Flores, give him a fair chance in camp. I would be like, look, Alan, thanks for all you did, but you're not going to beat Utah next year. Okay.
And who knows, that might be what he's done, right? If Flores is as good as everyone says, then that's probably and could be what Mike Gundy has done. So we know he likes running off quarterbacks a little bit too up there in Stillwater. So
he ran off his own son. He's not scared. So
well, and Spencer Sanders.
Yeah, I know. Oh, well, I mean, he ran him off. Spencer tried to come back, and
Mike said, hell no.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Before we stop talking about some college football, we do have a national title game coming up on Monday. Michigan Wolverines. I completely blanked on their mascot. They're playing the Washington Huskies. I hate to pat myself on the back a lot. I really do. But I know that whenever we recorded our preseason college football episode, I kind of said that Michigan was the best team. So all of those people that are on our radio station, Preston, and say, nobody saw this coming. Yeah, yours truly did. All right, look. So I
doesn't want to pat himself on the back though at all, folks.
All I'm saying. So So I know that everybody gets a lot of content out of me, right? They got to fill the airtime. So I just want to just say that you can talk about me that way too.
Hang on, I'm going to have to make this screen bigger. Your head keeps.
No. Michigan, it's going to be. I wanted to do the research. I'm probably going to do the research before my show on Saturday about how many times the Joe Moore Award winner has been in the playoff or in the national title game.
Quite frequently, I would
yeah,
assume.
Exactly. And so it's going to be such a great battle between the Washington offensive line, who were just getting clowned about their size this week compared to the Texas defensive lineman. It's just remember, the Texas defensive lineman outweighs the center by 100 pounds. Yeah, and the Texas defensive line got dominated.
They're soft as hell anyways. I mean,
yeah.
Come on.
And so it's gonna be very interesting. I think the battle up front is gonna determine this game because that Michigan defensive line had their way on Monday.
Well, that was
Alabama.
I mean, just sitting there watching that was guys, you're Alabama. What are you doing? These guys are getting there and basically killing Milroe, man. And by the way, and we'll probably get to it. That last play, I mean, I don't know what we were doing, but that offensive line, I mean, it was so bad the starting center transferred out of town.
Yeah, well, I mean, he probably didn't transfer. He probably got asked to leave.
He got on the bus and there was an envelope there that said, "Hey, bud, when we get back to Tuscaloosa, pack your locker and your apartment. You're done."
Exactly. So, I mean, in the last play, I've seen somebody say that it was like an RPO where he could have thrown out a screen pass. That screen pass would have got blown up. And then there
was no way that play worked in any form that it was going to be ran.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways that you could run that play. or run a play down there that close, 4th and goal, and have a successful play. But they decided to do what they did, and now I'm surprised the offensive coordinator hasn't paid for it because the center did.
I think it's Tommy Reese is the offensive
Tommy
coordinator.
Reese. Yeah, and I'm surprised he hasn't been asked to leave as well. But
that'll be coming, I'm sure.
Michigan minus 4.5. The over-under is 56.5 on that game. That's a very high over-under. I would take the under there, but I think Michigan wins the national title. I think they're for sure the best team in the nation. And then we'll see where Jim Harbaugh lands after this game.
Well, I think we all know where he lands because if he lost last week in LA, he just had a quick trip down the road to his new job. So, but I'll keep that for another day.
One hand and do the other.
Yeah. Look, Michigan, like you said, I think they are the best team, but I wouldn't count out Washington. I think the Huskies are good. I like Michael Penix. He's a very good quarterback. So I think it's going to be a close game, but I do think Michigan pulls it out. If I had to say, I think a field goal, maybe a touchdown game, something like that, a 1-score game. But yeah, I think it's going to be a close game, and I think it's going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry. I was just listening. Yep, I agree. No, Michigan takes it for sure.
I don't know if Q-tip froze or what, but yeah, that game will be fun on Monday. Did you watch any of the Washington game the other day, Kylie? We'll drop him while he's trying to reconnect with him. But no, that game was cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, at the very end, so you're talking about last plays and things. I didn't make it all the way to the end of that game. I was still recovering.
Okay. Yeah, no, that was and we were just talking about the Texas and Washington game. Q-tip Hal just I think I fell asleep probably with a few minutes left in the ball game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I thought Washington was going to win going into it. And they came out on top, so that was good.
Yeah, and we can finally talk about, and I'm so glad that people are finally admitting this too. Again, I don't like to pat myself on the back, but here we go again. Okay, we can finally talk about how Michael.
That's why he dropped. His head got so big, he dropped off the couch.
Yeah, Michael Penix deserved that Heisman Trophy. Wins should matter in college football, and surprise, surprise, that guy is a hell of a football player. I'm so glad that it took a nationally televised game. And again, they got screwed because they put the Pac-12 after dark. All right. So, the Heisman voters weren't even awake to watch that game. All right. Or the college football committee, because they didn't give a damn. They already screwed one team. Might as well screw another player out of a Heisman Trophy as well. So we need to stop hiring and keeping these people, these lazy SOBs that can't stay up and watch football in their offices. All right. We don't know who we should put in the college football playoff. We don't know who should be the Heisman Trophy winner. And you know what? I'm so glad that me, a degenerate sports gambler, knows exactly what's going on. All right.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I'd try to get you a Heisman vote, but it sounds like that won't happen anytime soon.
Yeah, no, those guys don't want me there because I'd wake them up.
We got to get you a seat for sure.
We'd be drinking vodka Red Bulls instead of
That's instead of like
instead of the old fashions.
The water flute, you'd have a flute of vodka Red Bulls.
Exactly. So, all right. So yeah. So all I'm saying is I'm so glad that I got to see everybody go. Michael Penix. Maybe Michael Penix should have won that Heisman. Yeah, Michael Penix should have won the Heisman. Big Penix energy. All right. Let's talk about some golf. We don't talk golf a lot on this podcast. Preston got his Masters hat on. I got mine sitting over there. I probably should have put it on, but let's talk about some golf. But let's be honest, we don't know anything about golf. We just know golf simulators. All right.
And I'm a big Barstool guy anyway. Shocker. I'm a 20-something-year-old guy. I'm a big Barstool guy, but this was one of the best streams of all time.
So Jersey Jerry from Barstool. Does he have a podcast? What does he do?
So that was actually his show. He streams once a week on Tuesday nights starting at 9 p.m. called It's Jerry After Dark. And he does challenges like this. And his challenge this week was to hit a hole in one before he ended his stream. And he thought it was going to take 3 hours. Turns out it took almost 2 days.
Yeah.
Was it like 37?
Yeah, 37, 38 hours, somewhere in there. Yeah, he did sleep last night for a little bit, but He slept on stream, didn't quit the stream, slept on stream, and got back at it. And finally, it was number 7 at Pebble Beach, knocked it in hole in one today.
And what was great is everybody started rooting for him. I didn't realize how big it had gotten while I was at work today. Tom Brady,
100,000, a whole football stadium of people were watching him. 100,000 people is where it topped out at.
Tom Brady tweets at him because somebody he tweets a pic. Jersey Jerry tweets a picture of him looking dejected, head down, and he puts it right next to the Popeyes girl. And if you remember, whenever the Popeyes chicken sandwiches were big, there was a picture that came out of this woman that works at Popeyes with her head down and just looking exhausted. And he tweets a picture. That's all. It's just a picture of them two side by side, and he looks dejected. And then Tom Brady quote tweets it and puts "It's darkest before the dawn" with his head down, kind of in the same pose.
In that Falcons Super Bowl, yeah.
Yeah, and Jerry hits the hole in one. Like
not even 20 minutes later, after Tom Brady chimes in, he hits the hole in one. And it was funny because I mean, everyone, JJ Watt was chiming in like the day before. Brooks Koepka, Max Homa, a bunch of golfers were chiming in as well. It was just, I mean, it's been a long time since I think we've had a stream like that where just, I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of people on social media just meet at the same place and watch a guy kind of ruin his body for the love of the game.
Exactly.
I think Brady is this proves that he's just like the luckiest sports guy ever.
I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking. I saw that 20 minutes later, he knocks it in. I was like, well, Tom Brady's like the best winner of all time.
Yeah.
Good luck charm. Yeah.
Dude, and Tom Brady's becoming so likable after his retirement. You know, everybody wanted to hate the guy when he's in Boston because he's one of those Boston jerks and they win all the time. And then he gets to Tampa and he gets drunk after a Super Bowl where he has to be held up and he watches Barstool and he's just a normal dude like all of us.
It's but yeah, that whole hole in one thing. I mean, it has to be. It was 2,600 strokes he had. Has to be the greatest athletic feat of our generation. I mean, 2,600 plus strokes to finally hit a hole in one. And there was times where he was questioning if even the programming on the simulator even allowed a hole in one. How long it took him to hit a hole in one. Accusing the makers. The makers of the simulator had to chime in and say, no, you can hit a hole in one in there. It just is kind of like the same that it would take for you in real life. So that was fun. It was a great time.
And I don't know how true this is, Preston. So if I start spilling lies, just correct me. But the golfing simulator was donated, right, by a Korean company that is trying to expand.
I don't know if it was donated, but it definitely is from Korea, yes.
And so what I had read was that it was donated from a Korean company that's trying to expand into the United States. And then that Korean marketing assistant had to go into a board and explain who Jersey Jerry was and why there's golfing.
They had this because they just opened a new office in Chicago, so they had put the simulator in then. So they've had it for a few months, and then he just did the stream with it. And I think because there's a few times on stream he was talking to someone in Korea, so he was definitely communicating with the manufacturer of the simulator, trying to figure out what was going on and all that stuff. But just top-notch stream, and I would say let's do it one day, but I don't know if I have that much commitment in me to do that. Plus, I would probably my back would fall out of me at some point doing that.
I think one of us would just end up sleeping, and we just end up drawing on everyone's faces.
Yeah,
we give up, cut off YouTube's hair.
Exactly. Yeah, I had to grow it back out. All right, now
real quick, I did see that. So I guess at Pebble Beach, if you hit a hole in one, they give you like the flag from that hole. They're giving him the flag from the 7th hole.
I bet they better.
That was pretty neat.
I've seen he's getting a lot of things. I mean, like you said, the flag from the hole. This one girl is sending him all her feet pictures.
I did see that one too.
I know he's got like one of the golf clubs that come to our pro-am, stuff like that. So it's good to be Jersey Jerry tonight.
Streaming, like just start doing challenges and stuff so we can get a bunch of free crap.
I don't know if you'd want all the free stuff. That's Jersey Jerry. All right,
the feet pics for sure. Kidding.
what was it? FSU Molly, I think is
Yeah.
who. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then even a feet.
Well,
Finder
there's
yeah.
background in that too. Not to get too deep into this stuff because I know a bunch of people probably don't care about it, but he's a feet guy. He's a foot guy. And he has a challenge every March called Feet the Streets. It's a bracket style challenge where women submit their feet and they go through a bracket. And so that's
What
his
do you
thing.
win?
That I don't know.
Probably nothing. Probably nothing.
Ah.
Well, now he's got a substantial amount of money, so maybe there's a prize now.
You get publicity. That's what you want.
Yeah.
All right. Now there's a good transition to our team right here in our backyard, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who we talked about just a little bit earlier, running the games on New Year's Eve. At least it's not Christmas. At least they're not good enough to be on Christmas yet. Because those are just.
I would be down for that though, because that's like a cool thing, right?
No, it's not. I'm not sitting in the studio on Christmas Day.
Yeah, but I mean, it just
For the
depends what
team.
time the game is, I guess. If it's at night, then I'm not doing anything Christmas night anyway. So
they usually don't play. They usually play them right in the middle of the day to ruin your entire day. But the Oklahoma City Thunder, second in the Western Conference, have had a hell of a week. Hell of a week they've had, except for of course last night
against the Hawks,
losing to the Atlanta Hawks, but only losing by 3 on the night of a back-to-back. First of all, the NBA has to get rid of the home and away back-to-back games. It's absolutely ridiculous to play a game in the game at 11 o'clock, fly to the eastern part of the United States, lose an hour, all right, land your plane at what they land at 4 a.m.
Well, because they didn't take off. They had a delay here in Oklahoma City because there was something wrong with the plane. So they didn't get there till I think Matt Pinto said they didn't get there until almost 4:15 or 4:30 or something like that. Didn't even get to the hotel till 5 o'clock. And then they had to turn around and play a basketball game later that day. Plus the whole, like you said, losing an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just they have to get rid of the home and away back-to-back games. It's completely unfair to the team that's having to do that. So NBA, be better. All right, look, you want to care about your players. You want to prevent all of this resting. Maybe don't have home and away back-to-back games. But the Oklahoma City Thunder only lose by 3 to the Atlanta Hawks. Probably, I mean, they had a great shot to tie it up with an Isaiah Joe corner 3. But just to run through the week that they've had, they beat the Timberwolves, which is the number 1 team in the West. They beat the Denver Nuggets in Denver by 119-193. I'm not sure.
Defending champs.
Yeah, the defending champs. And then they beat the best team in all of basketball, the Boston Celtics, on their home floor, 127-123. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Western Conference Player of the Month. I believe Chet was the Western Conference Player of the Month, or Rookie of the month as well. They did not want to give they don't want to let the Thunder clean sweep the awards. Mark Daigneault should have been the Western Conference Coach of the Month, but instead they gave that to Ty Lue. But Mark, I think you're in contention for the big award, all right, where you can give Ty Lue the double birds whenever you get that award. It's just great. And something that is just so fascinating about this team is that whenever they were tanking, they were playing a lot of guys. And you were like, okay, they're just getting a lot of guys in, they're getting a lot of run, they're trying to see what they have here. And now here they are, second in the West, a game out from first, and they're playing a lot of guys. I mean, Kenrich Williams didn't play last night against the Hawks. It was a lot of Lindy Waters. They're playing, Joe, and I know Jang is in the G League right now. Yeah. But their benches, they're playing 10, 11 guys every single night. And I mean, they're playing Aaron Wiggins. And I know that whenever playoff time comes, they're going to stick to 8, maybe 9 guys, right? And have a solid rotation, but it's a lot of fun to see these guys play. I mean, a lot of different guys play and see them all ball, right? I mean, they all play smart, fundamental basketball, and you just have to give your hat off to Mark Daigneault, to I'm not sure who the G League coach is, but the OKC Blue coach, and Sam Presti for just kind of going through this process and making sure that they not only have 6, 7 guys that know how to play, they have 10, 11 guys that go out there and know how to play a good form of basketball.
Yeah, and I'm ready to now finally say that I was wrong. I won't do this many times, but I will say it now. I was wrong I had the Thunder peg somewhere around what they were last year. What was it? 42 wins, somewhere in there, sneaking into a play-in game like they did last year. And now I'm fully ready to admit that I think this is a 50-win ball club, and they will be in the top 6 it is for sure, and playing a 7-game series. I think that's what this team is doing. Q-Tip, you look at them, they're shooting 50% from the field. They're shooting 39, just under 40, 39 point something from 3. And what was it, 84% from the free throw line. And they've had some free throw woes the last couple of games. So that's taken a hit. I think Shea's missed a few of the last couple of games, which he normally doesn't do. But this team is lighting it up. They've had historic shooting nights. And I forget what the stat is that Alex, one of the great callers on the Thunder recap, brought up the other night, but they are just shooting the lights out of the ball. And I know there's going to be games where they don't shoot, out of the gym and stuff like that, and they're missing all these shots, kind of like they did to start the game against Atlanta the other night. But I mean, they're just very consistent. They're very good, and they're in the top 5 or top 7 for sure when it comes to net rating on defense and offense. I know at one point they were the number 1 overall net team in the league. I think they've dropped just a little bit, but it's from where they were, Q-Tip. It's just insane.
It is insane. And I saw some guy try to get on his high horse yesterday that said all NBA fans are stupid and Thunder fans are dumb for trying to call for a trade. Look, this team needs rebounding. Okay, that's what's going to set them apart. That's what's going to kill them in the playoffs. Is that Chet, he's a great offensive player and he's a great defender, not a great rebounder. I mean, the guy is nowhere close to being the leader of this team in rebounds, and they just need rebounding, right? We're not calling for somebody. We're not calling for a drastic trade. We're not calling for a Joel Embiid, a Giannis or something like that, right? No, we're just saying get some rebounding, okay? They're gonna have to hammer home a rotation, right? They're gonna have to go down to 8 players, 9 players maybe in the playoffs. I mean, you can't play 10, 11 guys every single night. And Jalen Williams being the forward that comes off the bench, the big man that comes off the bench, isn't going to cut it for a team that wants to make a deep playoff run. And I guess that's what I'm most interested to see is if Sam Presti wants to make a deep playoff run or if he just wants to make the playoffs. And that's something, a quote that stood out from a Sam Presti press conference that I sat in, sadly, because those are just so long. But he said when they go into the playoffs, they don't want to make an appearance. They want to make an impact or something like that.
An arrival. They want it to be an arrival.
An arrival. Thank you. And I was about to say, I knew he used some A word because he likes to do that. Not an appearance, an arrival.
Yeah, you have to bring the
Presti-isms. You got to bring the Presti-isms too, if you want to quote him. But it's just like they need some rebounding. They just need some rebounding. I'm not saying go trade 4 first-round picks for somebody and completely mess up the chemistry of this team. But please, that was one of the Christmas presents. That was one of our Christmas presents that I tried to give Thunder fans was an aggressive general manager because this team just needs some rebounding, and it'll be interesting to see what they do. I mean, it'll be interesting.
They're 28th right now in rebounding in the NBA.
Yeah. So something's got to change.
But here's the thing, guys, is that I don't know if they're willing to give up some of the pieces at the moment that they're going to have to bring in a guy that is a probably starter caliber type player, right? They're not going to want to give up the J Dubs. They're not going to want to. And right now, I don't know if they want to give up Giddey because he's been playing great the last stretch of games. Yeah, but you don't have to give up a starter caliber player, right? What are the moves that take those teams over the top to win the titles? It's the Tucker. What's his first name? It's the Jay Crowders of the world, right? Yeah. It's the Tuckers that were in Houston and in Milwaukee, right? Oh yeah. And it's those guys that put your team in the difference, right? And it's just what they need. It's not go trade for a guy that you have to give up a Josh Giddey. Go trade for a guy that you have to give up a Lou Dort, right? You don't have to trade for that caliber of a guy,
but go trade for a guy that can be the 7th dude off the bench and get you a rebound, right? If
But
Chet
the thing
gets
is,
in foul trouble, he's going to
how
come
many
in. He's gonna
of
be
those
good.
are out there in the league, though, is the issue.
I'm sure. Look, Sam Presti sits there and crunches numbers all day long. He's been able to find all kinds of guards. You're telling me you can't find one big man? I mean,
Obviously not.
Go find a Steven Adams type, right? Steven Adams is hurt. Obviously, you're not going to.
I think that would probably be the worst fit for this team. A big guy like that's slow, getting up and down the court. That's not what this team needs. They're a very fast paced team.
You're going to need somebody to get rebounds. That's what you're going to have.
No,
to
and I agree with you on that. But my thing is just, and I've said it since before the season started. Who is the person that is out there right now that you could add to this team to make them that much better? And there's just not a single name out there that you can say, okay, we can get this guy and add him, and he's going to put us over the top. They're already a pretty good team without that, and you add another guy in, you're going to take away from the team, and I just don't know if they want to do that right now. And obviously, things are working right now. You can worry about the playoffs in the playoffs.
I just think if you worry about the playoffs, you're going to get beat in a 7-game series.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't know if they're a real title contender right now is the issue. They're a very good team, but they're not a title. I mean, there's a few teams out there that are title contenders, and the Thunder might be one of them when it comes down to the end of the season. But right now, I don't think they're a true title contender. Now, in a few weeks or a few months, that might change, right? But right now, they're not.
They're second in the West. You got to.
Yeah, but here's if you looked at their schedule in December and the schedule coming up here in January, they're about to hit a rough stretch of games. They have 7 weeks in a row where they have a back-to-back. Things are going to get very rough for the Thunder, and we saw what they did the other day on a back-to-back. I mean, granted, they almost won, but yeah, the early parts of that game were not good.
It was a home and road back-to-back. Scheduled loss. I mean, there's as much of a scheduled loss as you could ever have.
Well, if you want to say that, they're going to have 7 scheduled losses in the next 7 weeks.
Look at the schedule on their next back-to-back. They're going to be in LA. They're going to play in the same arena twice. On the 15th, 16th, they're going to play the Lakers and the Clippers. And I'm trying to look at their other back-to-back. Here you go. Here's another one. But they only have to go to San Antonio on their next back-to-back. On Tuesday, they're going to play the Trailblazers. On Wednesday, they're going to play the Spurs. On the 23rd and the 24th. And then, see, it's just home and road back-to-back. Just don't make any sense. Like, what are we doing, NBA? They're going to play at Detroit, then come home and play the Timberwolves, the number 1 team in the West, is what they're going to do on the 28th and 29th. It's just, it's ridiculous how the schedule plays out, but they're the second seed in the West. They're a title contender. They are a title contender.
Like I said, here in a few weeks, we will know for sure.
They have the MVP of the league. They have the rookie
of
the year.
I do agree that Shea is in conversation to be the MVP. It's starting to pick up the national narrative, if you will. The national attention is starting to pick up over the last couple of days with the Thunder. So he's going to need a lot more of that because I think Joel Embiid averaged like 40 points in December.
The stat pattern, yeah.
I mean, Russell Westbrook in 20 whenever that was that he won the MVP. All right. He wasn't just going out and getting all those rebounds by himself. We saw Steven Adams sitting there blocking people out so Russ could get a rebound. It's just, yeah. They are a good team. I'm admitting that they are a very good team. Are they title contenders? We'll find out in the next month or so.
I'm gonna let you circle a game. Okay, so I'm saying this on January 4th.
Let me pull up my calendar.
Pull up your calendar. Sunday, March 3rd. They're going to go to Phoenix on ESPN at 8:30. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to win the MVP award that night.
That night.
Okay. He's going to go toe-to-toe with Devin Booker. They're going to win that game, and everybody's going to be like, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the MVP of this league. And then we're going to be having another trophy, and we're going to build a number 2 statue up there outside of Paycom or whatever it is by the time we get there. And that'll be the first statue built here in Oklahoma City.
I doubt that, but
it needs to be.
A lot of production coming up.
It needs to be. No, I'm just kidding. You don't quote
all I know is we need to in the next few years we will be dyeing that damn canal Thunder blue, and I will be coming out looking like part of the Blue Man Group. So.
I just want to say, if there's a superstar that joins 2 other stars and they build a super team again, I'm gonna have to go to jail for felony or for arson. for arson, okay? Because I'm gonna burn the damn arena down. All right, there will not be another Miami Big 3.
The
All
good
right?
thing is, we don't have to worry about that in Oklahoma City for quite a few years because all these guys are young and locked in for a handful of years.
No, I'm not talking about stealing our guys. I'm talking about
Oh, okay, just
stacking
another
it.
team. Yeah,
Yeah, stacking a team to beat the Oklahoma City.
Well, there's no LeBron in the league anymore right now because LeBron isn't even LeBron at the moment. So I think we won't have to worry about that.
If Victor Wembanyama and Cooper Flagg decide to join up and build the and
They're gonna be playing in San Antonio. Yeah, that sounds like a hell of a time.
We'll go down there and we'll burn it all down. Okay. Hopefully you got your banners out of there. Damn Spurs. Can't stand it. All right. That'll do it for us. Make sure and follow us on Twitter at QTip47 at PrestonPool45.
I will say one thing before we do that. Saturday, on the Sports Animal, you get to see Q-Tip or hear Q-Tip and myself. I'll be hosting 1 to 3, and then Q-Tip will be on from 3 to 5. So you'll get a good 4 hours there. And I think even I'm producing for you. So I'll be with you there on your show. So a good 4 hours of us on the Sports Animal Saturday, 1 to 5 p.m. If you're out driving around town or you got the app, the website, however you're listening to the Animal, tune into us and let's have some fun.
And if you're a UFC fan, Emmanuel Rivera will be on from 5 to 6.
Yeah. We got to throw that in there because he's a good fighter.
I was about to say I have to say that because he said that he would kick my ass. And the other,
I have no doubt that he will.
Yeah, I have no doubt he could, at least. So yeah, let's just avoid that at all costs. But at Kylie Osborne is where you can find Kylie. Of course, we are on YouTube at Sports Animal. That's where you can watch us. At Sports Animals X or Twitter, if you like to go by that, is where you can watch us as well.